Hello and welcome to REGO-FIX Tech Chat. My name is David McHenry. I'm the Senior Engineering and CME Manager here for REGO-FIX USA. Today, let's talk about tool holding grip strength. Where does it come from and what are some things that affect how much grip strength you actually have in your tool holding system? So let's talk about grip strength. What is it? What creates it? Where does it come from? So when I have something like a collet, it's really easy to think about how grip strength is created with this. This is pushed down into a collet cavity, which has a taper to it. It squeezes on the tool holder body, and that closes in on the cutting tool itself. Well, what's it actually doing? So it's actually being forced around the outside of the tool holder body. That's creating pressure. So that pressure is only part of the equation for grip strength. So I can create pressure by a collet, a hydraulic holder, power grip, shrink fit, even an end mill holder, because the screw comes through and creates pressure on the side of that cutting tool. The other part of grip strength is friction. How much friction do I have between the inside of my collet and the outside of my cutting tool? Now, several different things can affect what affects that friction or what goes into creating that friction. The first and easiest thing to look at is cleanliness. How clean is my assembly? How clean is my cutting tool? How clean is the ID of my tool holding system? If you think about getting oil in between, I don't know, say my cutting tool and the inside of my hydraulic holder, well, I'm cutting down my friction by up to 50%. Well, that translates into 50% loss of clamping force. So cleanliness is very, very important for any tool holding system that's out there, whether it be a collet chuck, a shrink fit, power grip, or some other type of system that you're trying to use. The next thing that goes into clamping force and how much you have available is how much shank engagement you have with the cutting tool. How far is that cutting tool into the collet or the tool holding system? Almost all systems that are out there have a minimum engagement. So you have to be really careful to follow those rules so that I have enough tool shank inside of my collet or my tool holding system to actually grip onto and create that clamping force. So easiest thing here is make sure that you follow the requirements for the different manufacturers that you have for your collets or tool holding systems for how much is in there. A third thing that affects it is, well, how round is the tool shank? And I don't mean its actual roundness, I actually mean flats. Do I have a flat that's like a Weldon flat? Do I have a double Weldon flat? Do I have a whistle notch? Do I have any cutaways on the round portion of that tool shank that I'm trying to hold on to? Well, what's it really matter, right? I'm holding all the way around. Well, if you think about creating clamping force or pressure, if I have a spot that has no pressure on it, like this Weldon flat, it's not just this area that's losing clamping force. I actually have the same thing on the other side because there's nothing to push against on this side. So I can lose up to 30% or more just by having a little Weldon flat in my tool, depending on the tool shank size. So it's really, really important to make sure that one, the tool is very, very clean. Two, I have it in deep enough. Three, I can live with a reduction in clamping force if I'm using any kind of tool holder with a flat or collet ID with cutaways. Those are the easy things to look at. One of the most controversial things to look at, well, that's your cutting tool shank. There is a standard carbide finish you will find on probably 95% of the cutting tools that are out there. And it's really consistent, making it very easy to generate your gripping strength or your clamp force. The problem you run into when you get into coated shanks or the lapped mirror finish shanks that are out there. Now, there are various reasons for the cutting tool manufacturers to have these super shiny shanks. and that's not something for me to really discuss or go over. But that super shiny, slick shank, well, it's just that. It's slick. It doesn't have the same surface finish as a standard carbide tool. So those slick surfaces, even though they're beneficial to the cutting tool manufacturer to make the geometry they need to make, it does cut down the amount of friction you have between the outside of the cutting tool and the inside of your tool holding system. So keep an eye out. If you find yourself having problems with clamping force, take a look at those 4 items we just talked about: cleanliness, shank engagements, flats, and your shank finish. See if any of those could be leading to the problems you might be having holding onto your cutting tools. If you have any questions at all about grip strength or how to get more grip strength out of your tool holding system, please reach out to your REGO-FIX technical team. We are here to help.